Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So this video is kind of random. I'm going to be doing my top favorite books of all time. Now there's no specific number, it's just the books that stood out in my head when I decided to do this video. As most of you may or may not know, I'm an avid reader. I try and read a little bit every night. Sometimes it's only one chapter, sometimes I'll read like 7 chapters. It depends on my night. It also depends on how tired I am. Sometimes I can't read at all because I'm just going to fall asleep. But I think I have 4 books, just 4, that are books that stood out in my head that I've remembered since I read them. And I read 3, one of these books I read in middle school, and that was like, oh god, almost 10 years ago, maybe, yeah, 10 years ago, I read one of these books and I still remember it. 2 of them I read in high school, which was about, when I read them in high school, it was about 7 years ago. And one is a recent one, probably read about 2 years ago-ish. So the first book is 13 Reasons Why. And the author is J. Asher. This was a book that I read in high school. I really enjoyed it, and I'm going to read the description to you because it's just a little bit easier to be explained that way. When Clay Jensen plays the cassette tapes he received in a mysterious package, he's surprised to hear the voice of a dead classmate, Hannah Baker. He's one of 13 people who received Hannah's story, which details the circumstances that led to her suicide. Clay spends the rest of the day and long into the night listening to Hannah's voice and going to the location she wants him to visit. The text alternates sometimes quickly between Hannah's voice, and that's in italicized, and Clay's thoughts as he listens to her words, which illuminates betrayals and secrets and demonstrates the consequences of even small actions. Hannah herself is not free from guilt, her own inaction having played a part in the accidental auto death and a rape. The message about how we treat one another, although sometimes heavy, makes for compelling reading. Give this to fans of Gail Gill's psychological thrillers. This book, I read through this so quickly. So what happens is when you're reading, basically it'll be like you're reading what the cassette is saying, and then it'll stop and it'll go to the thoughts of that person who's listening to the tape. And it's very easy to follow along. I know it sounds confusing, but it's very easy to follow along. And it's a really great book. It really shows you how saying something or certain action towards somebody can really affect somebody else. You might think it's a little thing, but it really could be a big thing. So the book is really good. It's really good, I think, might not be true, but I think to teach about bullying. Because this book says that someone was bullied and they killed themselves over 13 different people. 13 different people. So this book was always something that stuck out in my head, and I really enjoyed it, and I'm so happy I had a chance to read it. So the second book is Perks of Being a Wallflower by Stephen Chbosky. I don't even know if I said that right. And this, I know they came out with a movie for it. I saw the movie. It's pretty good, I'm not gonna lie, I liked it. This was also one that I read in high school, so I'm gonna read about the thing again. What is most notable about this funny, touching, memorable first novel from Stephen Chbosky is the resounding accuracy of which the author captures the voice of a boy teetering on the brink of adulthood. Charlie is a freshman, and while he's not the biggest geek in the school, he is by no means popular. He's a wallflower. Shy and introspective and intelligent beyond his years, if not very savvy in the social arts. We learn about Charlie through the letters he writes to someone of undisclosed name, age, and gender, a stylistic technique that adds to the heart-wrenching earnestness saturating the teen's story. Charlie encounters the same struggles that many kids face in high school. Now, how to make friends, the intensity of a crush, family tensions, a first relationship, exploring sexuality, experimenting with drugs, but he is most also but he must also deal with his best friend's recent suicide. Charlie's letters take on the intimate feel of a journal as he shares his day-to-day thoughts and feels. And here's a little snippet. I walk around the school hallways and look at the people. I look at the teachers and wonder why they're here, if they like their jobs, or us. And I wonder how smart they were when they were 15. Not in a mean way, in a curious way. It's like looking at all the students and wondering who's had their heart broken that day and how they are able to cope with having 3 quizzes and a book report due on top of that. Or wondering who did the heartbreaking and wondering why. And now I'm going to go back to explaining it. With the help of a teacher who recognizes his wisdom and intuition and his 2 friends, seniors, Samantha and Patrick, Charlie mostly manages to avoid the depression he feels creeping up like kudzu. When it all becomes too much after a shocking realization about his beloved late Aunt Helen, Charlie retreats from his reality for a while, but he makes it back in due time, ready to face his sophomore year and all that it may bring. Charlie, sincerely searching for the feeling of being infinite, is a kindred spirit to the generation that's been slapped with the label X. I think this book is so good. If you watch the movie, it is similar to the movie. Not exact, which is how it always is, but it's definitely worth the read. I think it's good for high schoolers because, everyone in high school is trying to fit in, and I think it's a book worth reading personally. As you can see, I have a train here, suicide. I don't know why. Those kind of books just catch my attention. Another one is the Hunger Games trilogy by Suzanne Collins. I love this series. I'm not going to read about each book because that'll just be forever. Whatever. There's districts and they all have to fight to the death, basically. One boy and one girl get picked from the districts. And the whole story is about basically a girl named Katniss who volunteers a tribute for her sister Primrose, who gets chosen the first year that her name is in the little thing. Katniss meets this guy, Peeta, and they're in the same district. They're in District 12, and they meet, and they end up, making it through the Hunger Games, and yeah, and it's basically about them making it through and what they have to go through afterwards, and then it's just a really good book. I know it's a poor explanation, but everyone knows about the Hunger Games. There's movies about it. The movies are pretty accurate, so just watch the movies if you're really that curious. And the last book is The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton. I read this one in the 7th grade, and this was one book that I really enjoyed. It touched me anyway, So I'm going to read it, the description. According to Ponyboy, there are 2 kinds of people in the world: greasers and socks. A sock, short for social, has money, can get away with just about anything, and has an attitude longer than a milestone. A greaser, on the other hand, always lives on the outside and needs to watch his back. Ponyboy is a greaser, and he's always been proud of it, even willing to rumble against a gang of socks for the sake of his fellow greasers. Until one terrible night when his friend Johnny kills a sock. The murder gets under Ponyboy's skin, causing his bifurcated world to crumble and teaching him that pain feels the same whether a sock or a greaser. The classic, written by S.E. Hinton, was when she was 16 years old, is profound today as it was when it was first published in 1967. Wow, I had no idea that this was that she wrote this when she was 16. And one of my favorite quotes from the book is "Stay golden, Ponyboy." My 7th grade English teacher knew I loved this book, and he wrote "Stay golden" in my yearbook. Well, he wrote "Stay golden, Ponyboy" in my yearbook because this book, I really got attached to it. You know what I mean? I really enjoyed it. It's definitely a great book to teach about the different kind of people in life. How just because you're rich or poor or middle class doesn't mean you all don't feel the same way. So I think it's a good book for definitely the middle school level, because that's at the point when they're distinguishing between someone who has designer jeans versus someone who's wearing their brother or sister's jeans. So I think it's a good book to read. I hope I didn't depress you guys. Now that I realize a lot of my books were sad, I don't know why, but those are just kind of the books that I turn to read. As you know, as in the favorites videos where I tell you about my books that I've read. But yeah, I know this is a little random, but I figured you guys might enjoy it. If not, well, I'd like to read, so yeah. So yeah, thank you all for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I really hope I didn't make you depressed. And I hope you subscribe if you haven't already. And until next time, guys, bye.